How you're doing, Ralphy? Ralphy Customs. Bit of a mix-up again. Going to only be doing a few little bits and bobs this week, concentrating on getting that mill fitted and settled and sorted and done, and catching up on a few jobs. So, thanks for joining me. Let's see what we get up to, eh? This one's a shout out to my mate on YouTube, Max Grant, over in Australia. So we're setting a vise up, obviously, on this bed. And his top tip was, if you nip this up, just tighten that up gently, and then tighten that one up less. You'll have a pivot. The thing will move, it'll pivot about this bolt. Then you can set your dial indicator up across the back, off your upright, off your whatever that's called, your column, and we can wind that in to 0 if this will focus, which is about there. And then as we bring the bed across, we can see that's dropping off. So without even worrying, we'll give it a little tap back, yeah, back to 0, thereabouts. Go again, dropping off again, so we're back to 0, and so on and so forth. That pivoting makes it so quick and easy to set up that it's a pleasure. So thanks, Max, good day, mate. You'll get out squared away. We're back on Brother Bill's handlebars. Regular viewers will know that I had to stumbling block with these. Because I've not got anything to make a thread to clamp them in the jig to cut them and do it. Anyway, I have now got 1/2 inch UNF taps, so I'm going to make up some kind of fastener to clamp it into here and cut a piece out of the handlebars and make them 3.5 inch centres. Awesome, let's get on the lathe. So what I'm doing here, I've got a bit of old steel stock and got it in the lathe, obviously, giving it a little bit of a face off there. Next up, and a little off shot, if I say so myself, is centre drill, then through to my pilot drill, which is 10mm in this case, and finally we're going to drill it out the tapping size. That 1/2 inch UNF thread. And now with plenty of cutting oil and rolling the tap in the collet chuck, we'll run it in there as long as it stops spinning, which it did, in all fairness. I just needed to tighten it up a little bit off camera, and you can see me backing it out before we finish off with potting it off to length, and then we're going to spin it round, face it off again. So now we'll face up the other end and counterbore it to give us some clearance, leaving just enough thread, and we'll make another one exactly the same. Okay, so I've taken the turn bits. I'm going to machine some flats on so I can fit a spanner on there, yeah? And I know that this is 25mm in diameter, so I'm going to cut 3mm off each side, which will give me 19mm or 3/4 of an inch. I'll do that up the deep end, where the thread is, up this end. And that'll give us a useful adapter that I'll keep with the handlebar jig. What I've done, I've put a transfer punch through the hole, so that centres it, helps it get square, sits it nice in the vise, and I've clamped down touched off, and I'm going to do a 1/2 mil cut with 20 thou cut, and I'll work my way down to that 3 mil figure. So I've set the y-axis. Like I say, we're down that deep end. I'm just going to go backwards and forwards, taking cuts until I'm down to that 3 mil. Got a nice sharp carbide cutter in there, and so we'll just take a final pass to take that down to a 3mm cut. There we go. So what I'm actually going to do is lose my chuck key. Oh, there we go, chuck key, vice handle even. What I'm going to actually do, because I can, is I'm going to set straight up for the next one with the dowel through. Let's get the chips out of the way. So I put a dowel through, and we sit the piece on that, and it can't help but to sit about right, you know. Make sure the dowel's straight. The vice is going to pull it square, so we'll just put a finger on it, tighten it down, and your job's a good one. There you go, ready to cut away. So here what I've done, I've flipped the part over and I put a parallels underneath that, the flat that I've machined, tapped it down, tightened it up, and I should keep it parallel. Mind the lock and key for the quill. So again, we'll just zigzag backwards and forwards until we reach 3mm depth of cut, and then the job will be a good one. So what we have now is some little adapters that let us cover over this section of the handlebar. When they're mounted on the bike, there's rubber mounts that this bit passes through, and my jig's only thin, look, it's not that deep, it doesn't need to be, it's spot on, so I can't clamp the handlebars, so that's what these are for. They're now thread on with the 1/2 inch UNF thread. They'll clamp through holes, not there, I'm just putting them there to show you. And then we've got the 3/4 spanner that will go on there and tighten them up. Now, full disclosure, I've done this one how I intended, with the spanner fitting 2 flats where the threaded end is, and this one I've done upside down. Such is the state of play today. Doesn't matter at all, you know. I can't screw it on all the way up there because there's no thread in the bit where the thread would be, so we're going to have one up, one down for the duration. And there you go. So I've made some adapters so I can get on with the job and take these down to 3.5 inch centres. All I'm going to do is chop them here, take 1/2 inch out, put a spacer in like a slug, I'll show you, and then weld them up. Here you can see where I've tack welded a piece of box section so that we can get a straight cut with the bandsaw, so we can hold it safely in the vise while it cuts. And that'll be sacrificial, obviously. That'll get cut through when the bars get cut through. There's the second cut going through now. I'm actually holding the head because I want to be really gentle. And I've got the best clamp in the world. And there's that. Got the 1/2 inch bit cut out. We'll clean this bit off. We'll clean the ends up, and then we'll get turning and we'll make a piece. Get it in the jig, weld, job done. Okay, so this needs to be 24.7 and it's 25.4, and we need 50mm of it, and I'm going to bore a hole through the middle as well, just to keep it a bit lighter. I'll touch off, do a little parallel cut, go face up, touch on and take a light cut just to establish a size, a concentricity. So right now that measures, what do we want, 20, measures 24.55, and we want the inside diameter of this tube, which is 20.7. So we've got a few cuts to make. One final pass, just to clean it up, and then we'll bore the centre out. So we've obviously put a pilot hole in. I'm just going to go through this 10mm down to a depth just over 50mm. Slow things down a little bit. There we go. Now we're going to take that out to 15mm. That should give us a nice fat bit of a slug type tube effect for joining the bars. Sorted. Little chamfer, then we'll part it off, spin it round, chamfer, done. So remember this chamfering tool, back up to full speed, and not the speed down, to the parting off tool. Which just eyeball that about there. What a carriage off. I know with square, it's really important that you tool square to the job when you part off. I've just used it and made sure it was square, so we're all good. Now I like to use a little bit of oil, but that'll get in your way, so there we go. Put it there for now. Well, what I've actually done is parted off a bit far down the job, and we're not quite through to full diameter on that bore, so again, it don't really matter, it's only a slug. It's never ever going to see the light of day, but I'm going to face that off before I chamfer it to open that hole right out. Right on the edge now, I can see it. Yeah, that's broken through, look. There you go. And then we'll chamfer that. So I can swap over tools. Smash the other end. Quick debug. Done. So I've sanded a little flat. Camera will pick that up on top of this because there's a seam and then you can actually see it. I don't know if the camera will focus on it. I can't touch the screen because of my dodgy finger to zoom in, to focus in for you. No. So anyway, one half's in. I'll get the other half tapped in, get it in the jig, weld it up. Yeah. There they are finished. 3.5 inch sensors on the risers. That's straight. Everyone's a winner.